Here we have 500 cc's of pure dual sport build for you right now. It's really fun, but it's also a ton of parts, a ton of work. We're gonna have these bikes for years. Check out all the parts it takes to do it. We're gonna give you some insights right now. Okay, so what we've done is started with two 2024 ES 500 GasGas bikes. These bikes are 500 cc's, obviously. The difference in these bikes versus the KTM or Huskies, these bikes have a linkage stock, which is a plus for me, especially being a shorter guy. I want that linkage so the bike sits down a little bit. So I like the idea of this bike. These bikes were on sale. I sold some of my older EXCs to help pay for this project, and I got a pretty good deal from Rocky Mountain and St. George with some rebates on these things. So I was able to get two of them at the same time as I sold my older EXCs and a couple other bikes that I had, so help kind of finance this project. So I have the luxury of being able to do kind of everything to these bikes. Now, I don't build them up full-on desert ready because we're not going across the desert or anything like that. But what we are doing is enjoying ourselves. We only ride these bikes a few times a year, and I want to enjoy ourselves when we go do it. And we go up in the mountains, in areas and out to the deserts and areas. And so we want to be able to enjoy ourselves wherever we go. And we don't put on stabilizers or things like that. We're not going 100 across the desert. Okay, so the GasGas versions of these bikes come with brake tech components, which are totally fine. Components with the brakes, the clutches, all those pieces are all brake tech. It's a sub company, not as good as Brembo. I would think they're probably on par with the Magura stuff or maybe better. I think they're better than a lot of the Japanese bikes, but I had the luxury of being able to switch over and put all Brembo pieces on the bikes. And that's because I'm pretty spoiled. So that's one thing that no one has to do, but that I did. Here's a quick look at all the parts that I had left over and all of our brake and clutch components when I switched the bikes over to Brembo. Another thing I did was take off the stock cast clamps. I like cast clamps. All the Japanese bikes are cast clamps, which I like, but they're not rubber mounted. And I want that rubber mounted feeling, which I got in these. Now, I have the luxury of finding some good used ones from some connections, so I was able to do that. Not something that you need to do by any means. I did switch out our handlebars. The stock bars are pretty low. We have our ODI Champ bar bins on there that we like. Okay, so we put on our FMF slip-on system. The stock system is about 2 pounds heavier, also very restrictive. So we have those slip-on mufflers on from FMF. At the same time, we put our Rekluse cover on, which is about 1/3 of a pound lighter and also really cool. So we put on the clutch cover from Rekluse and our torque drive clutch in there as well. We switched out the throttle housing from the stock cast ones to the Bulletproof Designs has billet aluminum ones. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few of those pieces right now. Here you go. You got your Bulletproof Designs has the aluminum throttle housing right here. And then right down here, you can see our Rekluse clutch cover. Our FMF slip-on is right here as well. And we left the spark arrestor in because we will be probably riding in some areas in the mountains and so forth that we should be all legal. So on a dual sport ride, you want to be able to kind of get a good distance without having a massive tank on there. And IMS makes a 3.5 gallon tank that still uses the same fuel pump as the stock bike. These bikes still have an issue picking up fuel, but we're going to be able to get a good 3 gallons out of this thing minimum. So that's a pretty nice setup from IMS. As you can see, a lot larger than the stock tank. And we have a black version. We also have a special edition, other color version that will be shown on that bike soon that we're not showing quite yet, but it'll be in this video, I'm sure, later here. So a big thing with the dual sports is just losing a lot of the ridiculous stuff like this real heavy rear piece. So we lost this heavy rear piece and also took off this guard that goes around the chain. This keeps your slacks, like when you're on your way to work, keeps your slacks from getting caught in the chain. So this is the rear piece now. Compared to this monstrosity like this, you got this nice little all-in-one rear piece that this piece flashes left and right and has the brake light. Also, you can see our chain is all free in here without that guard in the way. We've got a plethora of parts here. We switched out our grips and put on, even though we like the ODI grips, the stock ones are a little firm. We have our MIG V2s on there. We have switched out our switches with True North Moto. It makes the trimmer switches. Then we can run our clutch in the correct place. So these are the stock ones. gotten rid of a lot of this emission stuff since this is a closed course only situation. These are the charcoal canisters which go in the frame. We've gotten rid of those, and we have the IMS catch cans in the frame. Here's our ECUs. We have our vortexes from Twisted. We took in the recages out of the air boot. Those are gone. Our mirrors are gone because we use the double take mirrors, which are really cool. And we only use one mirror, just the left side. Here's our O2 sensor in the pipe. That's been blocked off. We use Slavens has the kit for that stuff. Here's our blinker setup. True North Moto also has a piece that then allows you to run LEDs with that. They've got a built-in resistor there. We've changed out our start switches. All of our blinkers in the front, we've switched all those out. True North has some cool blinker pieces. We've switched out our headlights to Baja Designs MotoMinded headlights. We've taken off the stock steering locks. Don't need those really. If someone's going to steal your bike, they're going to steal your bike. We've taken off the chain guide guards that go over the front sprocket. And then right here is the exhaust manifold. Twisted Designs has these. That's who we got our ECUs from as well. These give a lot better blended transition with theirs in, and the bikes pick up a ton of power with these in there. And guys go, why do you want more power? On a dual sport, it's kind of nice being able to have plenty of power. I wouldn't ride a 450 or a 500 on the track, but having on a dual sport, totally fun and manageable. These are the chain guards that the stock ones, and we use the Enduro Engineering has pieces that leave that area really free, which is really nice, especially on bike washing and protection of the clutch master. So here's a good shot of the Enduro Engineering guard that goes over the master cylinder. Now it allows this whole area to be cleaned up. So when you do have to wash your bike, it's nice to be able to get in here. If you got a bunch of mud packed in, makes it really easy. Here's a good shot of the IMS foot pegs. You can see just how much wider they are here. Good footprint on the bike. This is a new company, small guys who are just into moto, Heimdall, and they made this little foot here so that you can go like this and just easily grab your kickstand, because they are so dang hard on these bikes to get. When you ride the new generation bikes, most of the time when you're on the bike, you end up using your hand to get it down. And so it's nice to be able to just put your foot, even with your boot on or tennis shoe, you can put in this little footprint. The cleat helps you out. Right inside here is our 2-stroke air filter cage. Very simple, easy mod. As you saw, our screened ones were on the table. Right here is our Vortex ECU from Twisted. Now it's important, a lot of guys will talk about ECUs. They're not all the same. They are mapped. Twisted maps theirs and has that service with adjustability right there. Also, there's an important feature we're going to talk about. So this switch is really cool. This is off of the motocross bikes on the KTM models. It has quick shift, traction control, has 2 map switches to choose from. The quick shift, you might not think you would like it, but it's incredible when you ride. So with quick shift on, in normal dirt riding, you probably won't really ever need it or want it. But when you're riding on dirt roads or asphalt in faster sections, it's really cool just to click up at from a quarter, half, full throttle, anywhere. You can just click up without touching the clutch at all. It just slightly retards the ignition to where it just slams up. It's really a pretty cool feature. ICW strengthened up our radiators while we had this thing apart. And as you can see now, this thing's much more like a motocross bike, way freer, a lot less junk in this area with our Slavens kit that's blocked off some of that emission stuff. Our coolant catch can is inside the frame, right in here. You see that little screw right there. That's what goes in there. And the hoses come right there. That's what's coming out of that coolant catch can, which leads into your radiator over here on this side. So these are the plugs right here, and this is our little hidden switch, which we'll have to go re-hide it somewhere else after this video. This is what turns the bike off and on, and instead of having a key. Now we've talked about also having a key somewhere, so we're going to look at that in the future as well. So this Achirby skid plate's proven to be really nice fitting. So we have that skid plate on here. We're running the stock header, which has been just fine on the dyno and everything, so I don't think there's any need to do that. Race Tech did the suspension on this bike, and the other bike was Schmidt. So we have 2 different suspension companies, both set up. We've been happy with both companies over the years. Now, since I am so spoiled, I have 6,500 kits from WP on here with dual spring. This is the latest technology from WP. So we have dual spring forks on here that are better than I think it's the closed cartridge that come on these things stock. So as you can see, this is kind of a mess, but I've tidied this up and I have a couple different zip ties holding all this together while the headlight mask is off. I left the headlight mask off and we have it on that bike so that this way you can kind of get just a glimpse of everything that goes on these. On the KTM bikes, there's a little bit more available from MotoMinded, and they actually have a plate that you can help zip tie all this stuff to. Okay, so Enduro Engineering has our handguards, and you can see we have this already done. Fast Company makes an insert that goes inside of here, inside the bar that we tapped, and that helps reduce vibration. So we have that insert in here. We're trying to reduce vibration on this bike. So we also went with the IMS foot pegs, which are just a little bit larger. Their core pegs go out a little further, so you got a better footprint on the bike. For the readout here, we just leave the stock unit. A lot of guys get the fancy Trail Tech one, which we do like, but for the most part, we're not doing that much navigation on the bike, so we like the stock units just fine for what we're doing. We really like the Enduro Engineering wraparound handguards. They're specific to each bars. The mounts right here require the correct ones. We run these number 6 for the ODI Champ bar bin bars that will fit on here from ODI, and they wrap around. Their Decal Works makes us custom graphics to fit the shields that look really cool and nice. And wraparounds allow you the situation when you are especially short challenged, like myself. When you fall, you don't ruin everything and ruin your day. So really nice setup from Enduro Engineering on our dual sports. Really like this. Having a slimmer switch right here, multi-switch that does the blinkers, the horn, the kill, your high and low beam for your lights is really nice to have. True North Motos is making these types of switches, as well as the one we have on the other bike. Here we have the MotoMinded True North setup. They partnered on this kind of setup that's billet, has these firm switches. So this also is a good solution for that. And then over here on the right side, you'll run their kill start setup on this, all protected like this. We run the stock header, works just fine on this bike. And right in here is the twisted flange, which gives us that additional power with the better matched port for these 450 and 500cc bikes. Really nice setup right here. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed some of that so far. These bikes are the ultimate old guy dream bike. I always say it's cheaper than a girlfriend or a Corvette or any other midlife crisis you might have, is to fix yourself up a dual sport. I've joked about it, but they're too expensive. I got this thing, this thing's less than $9 grand, and then if you put 4 or 5 into it, it's still way less than divorce. So I think it's a good win-win deal. And many guys are doing all that stuff in their 50s and 60s. So I say just get a dual sport, save yourself some money. Now, let's go over the must-dos if you buy a dual sport. And people go, why do you buy these KTM bikes for dual sports? They're the one that's probably the best ready to go. And people go, well, you saw the table full of parts we pulled off. Well, you don't have to do all that. But if you go buy a motocross bike or an XCF or a Honda CRF X or whatever, and then try to convert it over and add on all the stuff to do it, it's way more hassle. It's way easier and cheaper to do it this way. Everything's better. When you try to add it all on, not as good. This bike is a purpose-built dual sport bike. It's great in many conditions. So here's the things. The things that are the most important, and we've been working with this bike about 1.5 years, these bikes, this generation 24 and 25 500. The first one we did was from my friend Scott. Gained 21 horsepower by just doing the ECU right here from Vortex, removing out the reed cage out of the air boot. You remove that reed cage right out of here, put the 2-stroke air filter cage on, and we got that map switch up here with the Vortex from Twisted with a slip-on muffler from FMF. Those mods alone right there, 21 horsepower. Huge. It's 39 stock, made it 60 horsepower by just doing that stuff. I think we're probably another horse or two up with our exhaust flange on there as well. So plenty of horsepower for what we're doing, and it's a really good, smooth, easy to ride horsepower. So those are the most important things to do, that ECU. Also, I will preface this real quick. Don't do any mods to this bike or any EXC unless you're going to get your ECU done. If you put a muffler on, if you do remove the reed cage, if you do anything at all, it will run worse. It'll pop and fart. So don't do any of those mods unless you plan on getting an ECU done. So when you have your ECU done, then you can do those mods and be fine. So one of the things that really stands out to me is this quick shift feature with the Vortex ECU. It's amazing on these dual sport bikes. Really love it. All the features we did, we've learned a lot over the few years that we like. Yes, guys could build these things for a lot more overlanding or whatever, real dual sport use. We're not camping on the trail or anything like that. So we have these things set up really good. We kind of like glorified moto bikes or heavy duty trail bikes. And these things are great at that with our double take mirrors, all that kind of stuff. Got our tanks on here. One of the big additions we made recently, right here, you can see a little magnet right here. This has got the Takamoto dual snorkel pickup for the fuel tank. So it's gonna get all the fuel out of this tank. So this bike has that. We don't have it on this one yet, but that's something that's a really cool new feature to get all the fuel with their fuel pump. Really nice. So these bikes, as you can see, came out amazing. This one in Dirt Bike Magazine, this one in Racer X, one blinker taillight in the rear. So we were able to get all that stuff tucked in. So from a distance, you can't even hardly tell it's a dual sport, that it looks just like a trail bike. And IMS has a brand new color on the tank. It's a very unique color. This one's got the cool custom color from IMS on the tank. And it's some great builds. Hopefully you guys learned a lot about dual sport builds. It's getting to where, depending upon where you live, this is your future. If you want to go riding a lot, you can leave from your house. Dual sport riding is it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Check out That Moto Show, our podcast, any of those types of things. And remember to email me any tech questions. You can email us. People, how do I email you? Go to our website, Dirt Bike TV 1, contact, easy deal right there. What else can you say? Cool dual sports. See you guys next time on the track or trail.